Hey guys, GH. Welcome to the practice tee in the wind tunnel again. Okay, a couple of things today. Well, we've been talking about having that trail arm as a rib tickler, as a lower rib tickler. You can also get the upper arm and this bicep tricep region here and make it an upper rib tickler. By that I mean that it's going to have as much connection as the trail arm. Now why do we want that? Because it'll make you take the torso and the arms and the hands and the club and everything away basically together, which is what we really need to do, guys. For the rank and file players that have had their lunch on the practice tee for years and have got really good hand separation and capabilities to coordinate, you know, using the hands only in the backswing, you can get away with that. But if you're a week-to-week golfer and don't get a chance to practice, you really need to have something that's consistent, and something that is a whole of body takeaway, or a whole of entity takeaway, and the entity being us and the golf club. By that I mean, we're here, guys. We've locked that in. We've got our rib tickler here. We want to have an upper rib tickler here with the tricep here. So it's virtually this. Now the good thing there is that I can take that club away with my pecs and my upper arms like that. Now the Jimmy Ballard connection doctrine that he taught, still does, where he had the shag bag or the medicine ball in his hand here, and he went like that. Now that's taking everything away together. Now in doing that, you'll just take out the variables of component rates per motion coordination. You don't want to have to coordinate a hand rate of motion, an arm rate of motion, a body rate of motion, a hip turn rate of motion. You don't want to have to coordinate all those components of the body together. If we could just lock them all up and take them all away as one entity, it'll help. Now when you take it away, guys, once you've established a formation in your hands through your grip, and whatever it is, that little formation there, that angle there, it's very rare that you'll see that type of formation where the hand is dead in line. It's usually that type of formation there. You don't have to have that much, you just need to have a bit. But whatever you have there at address, you need to maintain in the backswing, or actually increase it in the backswing. So if I've got that amount there at address, I want to actually feel that I'm increasing that in the backswing, and as I bring it down, I'm actually wanting to maintain at least that amount at impact. Now you don't want to come down and have that here and then throw that into negative alignment by the time you get to impact. In any good impact, you have to have at least a straight line formation or a little bit of that bent back wrist at impact. You've got to have that, guys, to get any type of compression on the golf ball. You've just got to have that. And I might have confused some of you guys when I say that, you know, coming in here, this is our release mechanism. Well, the release is essentially after you've hit the ball. It's actually releasing all that pent-up storage of energy that you have for impact here. And the thought of releasing it after actually gives you the power at impact. But you don't want to release it early. And you don't want that throwaway, sideways releasing of the club early. So we don't want to come in here and have that going on at impact. We want to get in here and then have that going on post impact. So we're in here with that retained angle, and then we fire it away. So I just wanted to clarify that, guys. So as you take it back, if you feel that trail hand, whatever that is there, it just does this in the backswing. If I had a golf ball in it, and I took my trail hand back and I kept that formation, and I dropped it, it would go there. If I take that hand back, and I take it this way, and I get in that configuration at the top of the swing, it falls out of the bottom of my hand like that. We don't want that. Conversely, we don't want to get to the top and have that configuration at the top, because that would fall out the back of my hand. So we just want to have a configuration here where we take it to the top here and it just falls out and it just rolls over the pad of your hand. Then you know you've got the correct configuration of wrist set and bend at the top of the swing that you need. It's just that, guys. That forefinger and that thumb and that wrist configuration, we just take it to there like that. There it is there. And if we lock our left hand into that, there it is. You get the nice flat back of the left wrist or lead wrist at the top of the swing. Now it's very important, guys, because that's the only chance you've got of making any type of quality impact compression on the golf ball is that angle there. We saw with Hogan, everybody tries to do this with Hogan, that bent lead wrist. But that wasn't it with Hogan. Everybody tries to do that, fails, because they're trying to do that. That is a result of that. If you hold that there, look what happens to this. I come in here and I do that, look what happens to that lead wrist. That's how we get that Hogan formation there. It's not because he tried to do that, it's because he tried to do that. And this is where he was through the ball. He never tried to do that. Everybody I've ever seen that's tried to do that deliberately has failed. And they've always said, well, Hogan was unique, you know, he was triple jointed or whatever. He was flexible, but he just did it here. And he never told anybody about that. Even in the drawings in 5 lessons, guys, you know, there was great emphasis on that look. But they never said what created that look. That look was created by that, not by that. That was the result. That was the cause. That was the cause of this effect. Now, guys, the other thing when you're taking the club back, if you're feeling out of sorts with the golf swing and it varies from time to time, it's because the loading varies from time to time. Now, how do you get a consistent loading into that trail side? Well, where do you have to load the weight into that trail side? God, you've got to load it, for me, into that trail rump area here, that thigh, and into a flexed trail leg. That's what you've got to do. You've got to be able to sort of take your loading and put it here. Yeah. And the way you'll do that is to maintain the flex in that trail leg as much as you can in the backswing. Watch what happens if I straighten that leg. If I straighten that leg, I actually go that way dramatically. We need to keep it bent. Now, I'm really sitting in a very, very powerful position when I get there, guys. And that's what you want to do when you practice. Have about 20 or 30 of those, which I call a sit-down drill. You take the club back and you sit down into the position. Yeah. And just stay there. Feel that. Feel what that feels like. And feel where the pressure is. You'll feel it in your buttock. In the inside of your buttock. You'll actually feel all that. You'll feel it on the inside of your lead leg here. It's like an augering effect, guys. I'm trying to auger my body into the ground. And that's how you get a good body coil in the backswing. I don't try and resist my hips against my shoulders because I'm too old for that. I don't have the midriff flexibility, so I try and turn everything. And guys, just something on grip. Grip is very individual. That's why I very rarely go into it, because it varies so much for people, and because of the formation of the hand and the way it's designed for different people. But what I like to do is I like to have that trail thumb on the side of the shaft, not on top of it, on the side of it. And I like to have that trail knuckle pad there at the forefinger pushing on that, on the side of the shaft as well. So I've got my lead thumb on the side of the shaft pushing, and I've got my trail forefinger on the side of the shaft pushing. Now if you push down like that with that trail forefinger, that will actually get the release going in that trail hand, which will force the lead hand into release here. If I push down on that, just biomechanically, if I exert pressure in that forefinger here, look, as I force it down, look, it wants to fire the release of the forearms down through the ball. Unless you're Hogan, guys, you need to have forearm rotation as a feeling of release. Unless you're a true 100% body pivot releaser of the club, you need to have some forearm rotation. Hogan didn't. Hogan was here, came in, and he body pivoted here, and he was here and finished here. There was none of this with Hogan, but that was Hogan. We've never seen a swing like it, and we've never seen anyone on the tour that looked like Hogan physically either, or had his rate of flexibility with his body component lengths. He had inordinately long arms. People don't realise that. And a very thin chest. So he was different. So guys, we sit into that trail leg. And we get that nice, consistent loading. That's pretty simple stuff, guys. Now they're just what I call little practice bunts, where you just bunt the ball and you just sit into that trail side. Don't try and hit full shots, just take it back, load the rump, and then try and hold that angle. And the arms are taking it away. Now that's just a little bunt. We've got about 45 k's of wind here, guys. And that's a 5-iron little bunt, and that's carrying about 155 yards into that 40km/h wind with just a little bunt. Because the line of compression is good. And guys, by having that action there, you really do get a very, very square blade onto the ball. There's no movement on those shots. They don't move at all. They're just dead straight. Right, we'll hit a full shot. Doesn't get any easier or better than that. And that looks very leisurely, doesn't it, guys? That's because I'm trying to hold the formation of that angle, which gives me a nice storage of energy into the ball. But I'm still getting lots of this when I finish. Still getting that after I've hit. I don't want to come in and do that. I don't want to do that at all. It is simplistic. It's just a hold and a throw, but it's a bent throw. It's not this type of throw early. It's that into impact and then the throw. Okay, it takes a bit of timing, and you need to hit a few shots like this to get the feel. Right, I'll hit a full shot. Full Monty. That's just a Monon's line, pure as a driven snow. And it's windy here, guys. You'd probably play havoc with the audio. Now the other thing, guys, that'll help you with your backswing. When we talk about the 5 o'clock nose, you can use the 5 o'clock nose as an initiator and a smoother outer of the backswing. By that I mean, when we get into formation here, to hit the ball, to set up for the backswing, do this, just turn your nose to start the backswing. Get here. The last thing in the protocol is 5 o'clock nose setting. Get here. Nicholas did it. Sneed did it. They got here and then they went, Jack goes. And that started his backswing. It just gets you into a nice little ignition move and a smoothness type ignition move. Wow. Now the one thing that's never levelled at me in any term of description is that I've got a smooth type swing with a good smoothness index in it. I'm usually sharp and quick, but I think you'll agree that that was quite smooth for JH. And the result of that hit was beautiful. But the ground is very wet and boggy here today, guys. Had a lot of rain last night. So I'm just trying to sweep the ball. Now guys, in my channel lock protocol, I've basically eliminated all movement on the ball. So I've obviously got my angles coordinated. My into out and my club face angle at impact are cancelling out. So that I've got a dead straight ball flight now. I used to have a little baby draw, 2-3 yard draw, now it's just dead straight ball flight. And when you're hitting into the wind like this, you really notice how the backspin is pure. because it bores a hole in the wind. Any little draw with the wind is going to pick up that side spin. Any draw or fade spin will always pick it up. But a pure backspin, straight, squarely applied club face, the wind has no effect. Okay, we've got the two rib ticklers. We've got a low one and a high one. And it's just for this, guys. It's just... By having that connection of those arms, it really does get pressure down on the golf club, and you don't want to lift it in the backswing. That's the good thing about having that connection. When you have disconnection here, the arms fly off from the body. It's just a nice feeling. They're the same shots. Okay, I get on with it. I'm not over the ball very long. I don't have any Kill Bill in mind because I've got a timing mechanism that revolves around being on the move. Now that's giving it the full Monty, guys, and that doesn't move an inch. It really doesn't move an inch. Or maybe it does. But it doesn't, I can't see any movement on the ball. And see, guys, the attack is always shallow. There's no big gouges. Now for a little backswing, I get lots of download and I get lots of compression on the ball and I get adequate distance. For me, 5-iron, normally at my age and my swing speed, carry 5-iron about 170 metres. It's about 182 yards. Now I'm not going to hit it a bit further than that, but my average is about that. And a genuine 180 yard, 182 yard guys is a good carry. There's a lot of Hollywood numbers like 200, 210, but unless you're a tour player, you're not going to hit that. Or unless you're a really strong amateur. I'm certainly not at my age. So what the point I'm making there is you can have this little abbreviated swing here, but if you've got those good retained angles and the connection, and you're transferring the... Remember in that Hogan book where he had that picture, he had it like a dynamo inside here. You know, that illustration of him, and he had all these leads coming out to his arms and out to the club. Well, he was trying to depict there that his torso and the connection of his torso was the transference mechanism of the power to the club. And I feel like that. I feel like it emanates from the centre of my body through my connected arms. I like practicing into the wind, a strong wind. You know why? Because I have to, because 99% of the time you come here it's windy. But I mean, they're just, and this is dead into it. Little crosshead, but right, full hit. Load into that trail. Now, that's only just come down, guys. For me, there's more than adequate power for that little golf swing. That is a little golf swing, but that's adequate power. Now guys, there's a sign out here that I use as a target here. And even into that wind, those balls are in a like 10-yard circle around that sign. They're just there. Hold the phone. Just hit a couple of drivers, guys, to just show you the loading and how my arms don't vary. How my arms don't vary in their positioning on my body, even though I'm now going to a driver from a 5-iron. What's the difference between that and a 5-iron? Just 100 metres. That's what Mo Norman used to say. People say, what's the difference between that 5-iron swing and your driver swing, Mo? You just say 100 yards. 100 yards. Yeah, guys, I mean, that is just ballistically straight. Now that wind is almost so strong it almost blew me off my stance on the backswing, but that ball still went dead straight even though I fell off. Look how strong, it's probably 60 k's. Guys, that's just, I mean, that's putter straight. That's bowling alley straight. Okay guys, there were just a couple of things today. We'll always keep reinforcing. But the good thing there, you'll see with that 5-iron, my arms are in the same place as the driver. The connection is here. Upper arm rib tickler, lower arm rib tickler. And I just push the biceps away with my chest. That's all I do. I mean, that's just off a little backswing, guys. That's just so straight. And adequate power and distance for me. Okay, guys, there's just a couple of things that I wanted to touch on today.